Morning world, morning everyone, morning Sri, all the way from India, joining me this morning, Sunday morning in Sri Lanka. I guess you're in Bangalore, Sri, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Manoj. Good morning. I call you Manoj because you were my first manager in Sri Lanka cricket when I joined you guys.
Yeah, good to have you on the show, mate. As always, that I remember we go back, a long way back.
Yeah,
That's when was that? In 2014, was it? I
long back.
can't even remember.
Look, don't go back on the memories now. I don't know. Poor at
Yeah.
remembering dates and numbers, but yeah, but on the years.
Yeah, you're right. It's that it's been a while, and that that since I have spoken to you last, and then I met you during LPL, and good to see you, man. Just you have you have had a remarkable, I would say, a journey, a career. As far as I think, and we are here to talk about all your achievements and what you've been doing in the past. Since you last served for Sri Lanka, and Sri, tell us, mate. The from IT to cricket. Where did it all start? What made you make a career change and got into cricket, and what's the background? What forced you to get into cricket? And if you can enlighten all the people who are listening already, some people are joining us. And good morning to whoever, wherever they are joining us, and a good day to all. And Sri, just take us through, man. What made you make a career switch, from IT to cricket? What forced you, or what made you to do that?
Wayne, I'll be very humble when I say that, but also I haven't switched my careers. I started this as my career, but look, like everyone else, as a child, you would want to play the sport that you loved and you love, and you want to give it your best shot, isn't it? So I
Yeah.
started as a cricketer. Uh, I thought I would make it big, but I didn't. Then I said, I'm not going to give up. I want to be in this field doing something different, unique, what others have probably not got that opportunity to do, or they probably don't have the inclination, or they didn't feel probably that this would be their parallel career. I mean, we all think that uh, there is no life after retirement for a sportsman, right? Or an athlete. So what I felt in my early days was that there is always a parallel career that we can form, and that was a very early realization that I got in my life. I would say. Uh, I mean, not to make it very serious, there were a lot of instances where I felt that I was not good enough as a. I was bowling medium pace and I was, batting in the lower middle order. I felt that I may not be, making it to the national level, or if I made it one day there, so be it. This could always be sort of the knowledge that I gained over a period of time. So
Right.
I kept doing this for a long time, and I convinced myself at a stage, and I said, "Look, I don't think we can go beyond. I can go beyond this."
Right.
Obviously, I didn't manage myself pretty well in terms of my injuries and a little bit of stopgap cricket that I played, and I felt one word that always pulled me back into the sport is passion, and that passion has driven me over the number of years, few years now, yeah, which has actually become my livelihood, and that is still driving me. I don't know, the day that passion goes off my head, I probably will not be doing this. I will be doing something else. But today, God willing, I'm still here, and I'm with you all.
Good stuff, mate. So you played bit of cricket, but you were more IT guy. And then when you realize the fact that you're not going to make it big in your as a player, and that you switch to do a supporting role. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I felt that there is a lot of life beyond just as a player, in the sports arena. Whatever sport you play, I mean, this is for anyone and everyone who are doing the work, right?
Yeah.
They also have to remember one thing, that sportsman is not just about playing. Life is not just about playing for your respective national teams or your club teams, or whatever level of sport you play in your respective sports, I'm saying there is always life beyond that in the sports industry. How you give it back, how you try and do something creatives, something which is useful for the athletes, which will enable them, which will take them from level A to B to C, and uplift their careers in their own way. Like you might have certain degree of knowledge which you would like to share it to some players, which you felt you could have done but you did not do it or you did not achieve it. That can be passed on as part of knowledge.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Just tell me, like, that the analyzing, like the time we played, taking way back in time, we didn't have all this technology, and we never had a analyst, on tour or with the team. When did the whole the strategists and analysts, when did that come into play? I simply can't put a finger on it. When did this all happen? And how did you get into that? Because still a new field that is lot to be explored. How much value you guys can add, to a team? Where did it all start?
Look, the evolution of analytics, right, goes way back some 20 years, I would say,
Right.
when Australian team actually, started this, but it was always existent in other sports. Say it was in baseball, it was in American football, uh, multiple other sports. They actually, started it long ago. Uh, the whole concept of that movie Moneyball was basis on this only. Uh,
Yeah.
but but that's not the starting point for me. The starting point for me was when I was studying. Like I said, I was doing my bachelor's, and I felt, look, I need to now try and look at what is my career, whether I get into studies. Look, in our Asian mentality, the parents would always say, "Why you take a cricket bat and run all the way, right? Why don't you get into something useful, something which will fetch you good food in the future, right?" So they never thought
Yeah.
sports is a future for any of us. So they said, get into academics, get your show your brilliance there, try and see what you can. These things will not fetch you food, this will not fetch you livelihood, and this and that. So for me, it was a challenge that I took it up. I don't know whether I would succeed or not, but I went against a few people in the family, mother, father, etc., etc. So we thought that there could be something that can pop up, eventually, because the idea was always there. It was only going to grow from there. The evolution of this analytics started when I actually started this whole work in way back in 2005, I think, 2005, 2006, when I said I'm going to get into serious analytics with the help of a little bit of technology. Those days it was not much, right? Where you will talk about just having a camera, manual recordings, come back, edit them, put that into pieces, and there is a software that is enabled by a few, outsourcing agents from various countries, US, New Zealand, and all of that.
Yeah.
They we used all those systems to dissect the data and see how we can get into technical aspects of it. Look, 20 years back, if I went to a coach and said, coach, I don't feel that this player is having a good technique playing in the V or playing in the front foot cover drive, so on, so forth and so on, they'll say, who are you, what are you talking? So we then take a back seat, right?
Yeah.
But with the help of technology, what we do, we help the coaches. That's why we say these technologies have to be imbibed or accepted, and that becomes your friend eventually as a for a coach,
Mhm.
right? They should not be seen as a threat. So
Sure.
it from there, that is those are the times when people started actually thinking, why are we exposing the player's weakness by showing this? To that to now, people are using this on a day-to-day basis to find derivatives of how the player should be thinking, how they should be playing. Not only cricket. I mean, I can take many examples of how my association with an Olympic team was, how we went
Yeah.
on to battle against a particular player and we won medals, which it has never happened in the history of their Olympic events.
Yeah.
So, like that, my association with, I mean, I should thank Malaysian Cricket Association for that, because they were part of Asian Games, where we got a lovely opportunity to interact with them, understand what they are doing. In fact, Malaysian Cricket Council, Cricket Association, had a lot of support from Olympic Council of Malaysia.
Mhm.
They had that's when I actually saw how the athletes train apart from just cricket, right? How they get into activities of I mean minute details of how they train. So I have seen that. Then there also I felt a bit of technology was unused or not used effectively. Then I said, okay, it's not just cricket that is having problem, right? In the usage of technology, although the technology is growing, evolving, the usage of technology is limited to certain sport or to certain people. So that's when I felt, okay, the this can get better, and how we can drive through technology, how not just technical aspects of it, through the tactical aspects of it as well. Now, if you go into a player's mindset, I was explaining somebody yesterday as well. I was telling them how a player thinks that he or she should be approaching a batsman or a bowler or even an opponent for that matter in any other sport. There is a lot of mental aspect of game that goes inside, but all that happens through the help of technology, because all that technology that we talk about, what is technology? Break it down. That which reduces the gap between your understanding and the end result. That's what is going to be, that's what is used actually, in the real sport, in the live sport. There is a gap of understanding, right, between what a coach says and what is happening there for a player, or sometimes it can be just a bad execution. But that technology, usage of technology in the various mediums of technologies that we use, through artificial intelligence, through a simple video analysis session, could be anything, right? That which helps you fill the gap, bridge the gap, that I have seen evolve over a period of time. And that's brilliant right now. I mean, the way things have got better right now from what it used to be 15, 16 years back is significant.
So I wish, Sri, I wish, that I had this technology the time, we used to play. It probably would have been, like, different players. What you said right now in a nutshell, it's like seeing is believing. Sometimes, as a coach's point of view, as you rightly said, you can tell a player what to do and what not to do, but simply sometimes you may not get the message across to the player, that unless until they really see it on a screen, sit with your analyst and break it down into detail, and they say, oh yes, this is what my coach is talking
Absolutely.
about.
Absolutely.
That's the way it is. And I'm a man, and that people had reservations, when all these analysts came, and that what you went through when you joined Sri Lanka. It's always, I think, in this world, when something new comes in, there's always a plus and a negative to it. Some people will accept and some won't.
Absolutely.
That's, I think, part and parcel of life. But I'm a guy, I'm a real sucker to technology, and I want to learn, mate. Every day, every single minute, if there's technology or something new happening, and the way to go. Having said that, what you said, that there's something really interesting happening over in India right now in the second test. There's a bit of drama this morning, and you reckon, from a strategist, the analyst point of view, what is forcing Aussies to sweep on a wicket keeping that low, and throwing their wickets? Is that
I
is
think
that
it's just playing
something?
in their mind. I think it's
Their
just playing in
mind,
their mind. I remember in 2016 when Australia came to Sri Lanka, we were
Sri
there.
Lanka.
We
Yeah,
swept them 3-0. How,
you were there, right? You were
yeah,
in
I
the
was there. I was there.
yeah,
Rangana Herath got 34 odd wickets.
yeah,
90% of those wickets were pulled straight to the stumps. It wasn't
yeah.
turning here and there. So it just, I think it's just a mentality that it just plays in somebody's mind, that it's going to be a turner, it's going to turn square, it's going to be this much of deviation and this and that. Then that gets into their mind. But what we forget is to look at what the basics are, and look at, I've seen players plan against Ashwin so much, players wanting to play for turn, but they get out to straight deliveries or to fast bowlers. I mean,
True.
you probably think that this is the best thing that your preparation is for this game, but you expect something out of the syllabus, and then that takes your wicket. So obviously, Aussies no credit off the Indian bowlers. They have been, and look at Akshar, how he played last night. I mean,
Yeah,
brilliant for someone to come at number 7 and bat the way that he did, and
yeah.
in tough conditions. I think hats off to that partnership between Ashwin and Akshar. But
Yeah, you're
obviously,
right, mate.
the
Yeah,
India's
like, I'm sure, yeah, that I'm sure that the Aussies would have had a chat last night after the game, how they want to go about this morning, and I'm sure that they would have discussed the way forward is to go sweep, and so, like, what you say, that that's the mindset. And when things go right, can you like from your point of view, and that can you go and as a strategist and say, hey, play your basic cricket, stop doing, it's not working, can that be changed? Do you have the power to do that?
Look, it's not about power. It's more to do with what your role is, right? You would,
Yeah,
as an analyst, want to do what you have to do for the side. That is to
yeah,
help the coaches. The moment as analysts we become coaches, or we try to become coaches and say, look, you should have done this, you should have done that. You can throw all those options when the player comes to you,
yeah,
possibly, thinking that the player has a trust in you, right? Instead, you start becoming as a coach, and then you start doing the role of a coach. That's when there is a downhill to your career, to your thinking, and to the level of expectation from the coaches about you,
yeah,
where you don't do what we have to do, rather, right? So
yeah,
that is something that you got to have that rapport built. But in a nutshell, I think you're right. You can go and throw these options to them. You can say, look, this is what Ashwin has been trying to do. He's been trying to set you up, trying to bowl outswing, sorry, off cutters from around the wicket, or try to shape it away, angle it away. So you can throw in options to them, right? But then the batters still have to go and battle it out inside, right? We can say so many things. The
yeah,
batsman also trying to search for an answer as to why, what, how. These three questions constantly keep ringing their minds, isn't it? So
yeah,
that is something that we are very keen as analysts to understand each and every player why they are going through. There's a slump in their career. There is a bad phase that a batsman goes through, which
yeah,
happens for everybody. There's no one single batsman who has never gone through a bad phase, and you know
yeah,
or not gone through a bad phase in his career. So that's when you go back and sit back and say, look, these are the things that they are trying to do to you. Whatever you try and do, you may not succeed, right? You will still have to go through that phase, and then you
yeah.
pass it on to the coaches. It's up to the coaches how they carry forward that message to the players.
Yeah, you're right, mate. You reckon that Steve Smith is going through a bad patch? I saw him, just dropping a few catches on field, and I probably, that's what's happening. Whilst the guy was fielding, is it affecting his batting? Or, I'm not seeing Steve Smith struggling so much. One player who had done so well in India is, really, really struggling for runs, looking for answers.
Look, I think it's the pitch is playing too much in on all these people's minds, and
Right,
I that's how I see it. Look, I can be wrong, I can be different in the way I'm thinking, but
right.
that's got nothing to do with their fielding abilities or anything. I think he's a great teammate. From what I've seen of him in Delhi Capitals, he's a lovely gentleman who gives it all to the team, and at his best, obviously, he's unstoppable. So the best is yet to come from Australia. Hopefully, the next two matches they turn around the table and make a
I
big.
mean, let me put you on the spot as an analyst. What do you reckon? What would be a score that is defendable on this pitch for Aussies? I think they are. What are they now? I think they last time when I checked, they were about hundred
No, I think
and
they're chasing 114 right now. They India is chasing 114.
they are all out. Is it?
Yeah, yeah. Australians are all out
Yeah.
113.
Huh.
So
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So walk in the park
yeah, I think so. I think so.
for India. You
Yeah,
reckon?
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be
Okay.
two
Fine.
up surely at the
Yeah.
end of the
Yeah.
day today. But yeah, I think this test match should finish by tea, if at all. If not, third session, first half, they should be able to do it. Yeah.
Uh, so the second match in succession, all over by the third day. 2 more days to go.
So
It's all done and
my
dusted.
pick
Is that
before
what
the
you
game
predict?
was Akshar Patel, and he did the job as a batsman.
Oh, good call, mate. Good call. Right. Okay. That's quickly. They're taking you back to your time in Sri Lanka with the national team. How did you enjoy it? What was the
Oh, it
experience
was
like? I think since leaving Sri Lanka, you have gone places, and career wise, you have achieved many goals, and that you're a very well acceptable personality in cricket. Now, how did your stint with Sri Lanka help?
look. I mean, I'm always grateful to Sri Lanka for to have given that opportunity to me. Uh, when I needed the most, they came. I mean, we had a few discussions initially. my friends, who helped me there, who helped me to even get this role for me with Sri Lankan team. I mean, I'm thanks to all of them. But what every single day I wake up, I felt that there is something new for me here. There are great friends that I earned there, great relationships that I've got there with all the cricketing teammates and the circle that I built there, for so many years. Yes, we had some good experiences, not so good experiences. That all is part of the journey, right? So
Yeah.
the time that I spent with them was unbelievable, especially just after wins. You go back tournament after tournament, you started seeing so much success with the newly formed team, young team it was. I mean, the likes of Dhananjay De Silva, Kusal Mendes. Uh,
Yeah.
you name very few players like Kusal Mendes who can play all three formats successfully, and who's a great talent, who came and saved us a game against Australia, scoring that 190 odd in Candy. I mean, those are the memorable moments I had when I came in, and I found that every single player is so humble. I mean, they make you feel home every time, right? That was so pleasing for me. I never felt that I'm away from India. I mean, not just the cultural aspect of it, even with the people there, right? They always were very warm and very friendly, and they always felt kept me as part of their family. I mean, they used to call me to their home for lunch, dinner, and have some parties, at times. So it was fun for me. The learnings were uh, significant in terms of what I should do, what I should not do, whether it is to interact with people, or because the culture was slightly different for me and the language was different. I never picked up the language, but I learned a few words.
Yeah. That's always, yeah,
A
you
good
learn
friend
some.
always
Yeah.
said that,
Yeah.
when you go to a new city, learn the filth first.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's natural, wherever you go. I mean, that was one hell of a tour, I mean, taking back that Australia tour that no one gave us, any hope. And I remember that in the first test, we were like six down for nothing, and Aussies were sitting pretty, and, they, in fact, they were thinking of finishing the game and lecturing the whole unit, how to lift our cricket up, and we turned tables around. We won the first, went on to win the second, then we won the third,
All,
and okay.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to talk about the what happened there after the one days. If I may ask you, yes, that was one fantastic tour. I remember that you were with us in Zimbabwe. That it was thereafter. Which tour would you being a are you still a vegetarian?
Yeah, I'm a vegetarian, yes.
Yeah, I know that was absolutely a manager's nightmare to get you to eat, especially in Zimbabwe, like
Oh, but
that can.
you didn't do any favor to me for being a vegetarian anyway.
I remember that it was one hell of a task to find you food. You and Sandakan, I think Sandakan, he didn't eat meat. He only ate fish.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that
Correct.
was that.
Yeah,
That was
but the Zimbabwe tour, I should say, the way we got stranded in the middle of the forest jungle
Oh
somewhere,
yes,
where we
yeah,
didn't have
yeah,
buses, and the bus was broken down, and we had to wait for a few hours to get the one. I mean, it was so much fun with the boys. I mean, like that's what I said, no? The boys never make you feel that they are stars, and they don't have distance with you. They make you feel like they're just your family members, your brothers, right?
yeah,
So it
yeah,
was so good for me to be working with them, and I loved every single minute of my time with them. uh,
yeah,
and the other thing is, which is unforgettable moment for me with Sri Lankan team, was the tour that we had in South Africa, where we played the test series. We were beaten all three,
yeah,
under 3 days, all three test matches, and then we go on to play the ODI series. Again, it was a close call. Uh, then we won the T20 series there. From there, we straight went to Australia to win that T20 series as well in Australia. So
yeah,
uh, that team was completely written off by most of them, saying that this team will not make it. And that was the time when Sri Lanka never gave up. I mean, they came up with a big expectations, right? They won the World Cups 2012, 24, sorry, they qualified to the World Cup final. 2014 they were the champions. 2016, they did well. So
Yeah.
Sri Lanka is in the T20s, were in the reckoning, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden to see the entire turnaround in Sri Lanka cricket, the new form team, and I mean I remember that phase where there were more than 28, 30 debutants for Sri Lankans in Sri Lankan team. So
Yeah.
to have something like that was significant to drive them. I mean,
Yeah.
hats off to you, to Graham Ford, who was a coach then, to the entire management, the way they have handled some of the cricketers, to have built the characters in them. It was significant development for Sri Lanka cricket that phase. I mean, all the fruits that they're bearing right now probably is what they've done in the past.
Good to hear that, mate. Thanks for the compliment. Since leaving Sri Lanka, I mean that you have really moved up. Then you had different roles, and you were chief executive of some of the franchises, and then you did a consult. You had a, I think, stint as as a consultant coach, and you played various roles. And now that you play a significant part that which people don't realize in franchise cricket, where do you find this franchise cricket is going? Is that going to compromise bilateral cricket that played between countries, or is the end of test cricket, or where is this whole franchise cricket is going to go from your point of view?
I think, see, from a commercial point of view, this is very much required for every country to have its own private league, right? Because we all do this for two things, as respective cricket boards or respective national teams. Because you need to identify, you need to talent your scout your talent from these sort of leagues, right?
Yeah.
I easily know the success of Indian cricket, although they have not won World Cup after 2011,
Yeah.
T20, sorry, One Day World Cup. The success of Indian cricket today is majorly because of IPL, the way IPL has turned around its players, right? Uh, you take the most recent sensation, Umran Malik, who can bowl 150, or to how Surya Kumar Yadav made his debut, coming off wonderful T20, experience in IPL, all of that. So for
Yeah.
me, I think the every country, every national cricket team, regardless of where they stand in their rankings in the top 12 or beyond that, every national team should adopt a method where they should have a window for itself to play domestic cricket, domestic white ball cricket. That is both 50 and the T20. Obviously, T20 is more commercialized. That's a short time and people come and watch. It's like a carnival, right? So
Sure.
it's very important that we have to have these cricket tournaments for respective boards, but that doesn't mean there is a death of test cricket, because test cricket is the best form of cricket that you want to watch. Look, I'm glued to the television. If I'm not in front of the television, I have my OTT platform where I keep watching all these test matches because I love test cricket. I love the longer format. I see that exactly. I was watching an interview of Chateshwar Pujara. He said this is what teaches you, this format of this game teaches you how you can be adopting yourself into the into the general scheme of life as well, right? It teaches you test character, it teaches you patience. I mean, that's both in the sport and in the general life. So for me, regardless of where you play, come back and play the red ball cricket if you feel that you're there. Simple.
Yeah, it's very interesting point, isn't it? So you reckon test cricket is a way of life. It shows you character, and it teaches you a lot of things, whereas, the white ball cricket, what we call the shorter format, is like more like a carnival. It's like a party. People go out there and have a good time, and it's all done and dusted. And but test cricket shows the real character of a player or an individual, or what the game is all about. Is that what you're saying? That's where
Absolutely, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the way forward. The T20 cricket is more fun. That there's a lot of fun element to it, but the
right.
players who are involved, the stakeholders who are involved, they know that there is serious cricket going on there. For the crowd, it's a crowd puller basically. For the crowd, when they come, they want to see their best stars, best cricketers play, hit big sixes, and the best bowlers to come and pick wickets. So
Yeah.
it is never that the batsman keeps hitting and then the bowler does nothing, right? It's always the best bowlers come and challenge the batters, whether it's bowling in the power play, bowling in the death overs. It's excitement. It creates a lot of buzz.
Yeah. True, true. What you're saying is absolutely right.
T20,
And
there is another format which is recently introduced. That's your T10
T10. Yeah.
and 100 ball. These are innovations. I would say I don't know whether this will cater to the needs of the national teams and the associations. It can be more seen as a commercial venture with again more cricket element to it. But I feel T20 franchise should be adopted by every single cricket board.
Isn't it already adopted by most cricketing boards other than, I think, was it what you said? It's Ireland, isn't it? Apart from Ireland, every
I think,
single.
yeah, Ireland doesn't have the T20. I mean, they have a domestic comp, but they don't have a franchise-based cricket at the moment. But I think every other top 12 teams, if you look at, New Zealand has it, Zimbabwe is just coming up with it. They have been playing domestic cricket as well as I think this year they're launching a T20 league. I heard there were a lot of other leagues that were coming up, like Euroslam, where the associates will be, part of it. There was one league in Canada.
Yeah,
So I think it's the best way to see how you can raise talent from different regions.
it's a good point, mate. So very quickly, just to ask, maybe I didn't even realize I've been talking to you for the last half an hour or so. Time's running out. Your point of view, Sri Lanka is struggling to qualify for the World Cup, and we are about to embark on a tour to New Zealand. What do you think of the chances? Will we qualify, or it's going to be an uphill task?
Look, I have tremendous faith in this Sri Lankan team because it's a new look team for me. The way Dasun's leadership qualities have, developed over a period of time. I've seen how he has. You're talking about white ball, right?
Yes, white ball.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
playing both
Yeah.
formats, right? Yeah.
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 How obviously test is one side of it, and Dimut is a very shrewd thinker of the game,
Yeah.
and he has led the team, very well in the last few months. I would say few couple of years rather. When it comes to white ball cricket, I think Dasun's caught the hang of it. He's done exceptionally well. We all saw how they can do turn around the tables for Sri Lanka in the T20 in the Asia Cup last year. Yes, there is always a up and down graph for them, but it's about the consistency that you give to certain players. You
Yeah.
will have 10 players fail at different times, but they have to be given a longer run. But if
Hmm.
that is not given to those players and long run is not given to them, they are not going to make it big. And Sri Lanka, I am very, very sure they're going. I mean, they will go through the qualifiers, which is as per the ICC norms, and they have to go to play the qualifiers because of the ranking-based tournament that it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see anything wrong about it. I just see it as a good match practice before they go to the World Cup. And I'm going to tell you this for me, Sri Lanka are in the reckoning for the top six finish, if not top four.
Big
Because of the
call,
fact
mate.
that they are playing in the Asian conditions, it's not going
Yeah.
to be easy for somebody to walk through Sri Lanka in India.
Yeah, but the only thing is that the qualifying stages. I think is it played in Zimbabwe? It's a long tournament. That anything can happen when you go to that part of the world. Or you're still confident that Sri Lanka will make it to the World Cup?
100% they'll make it. I'll give
Oh,
you today.
I love your positivity, mate. It's good call. Now that you, yeah,
The players there that they have, okay, I think the way the youngsters are playing today. There's so many guys who are there, whom we can. I don't want to single out anyone because it won't be fair on me to say that. But there are about 5 6 match winners for them in the team currently.
good news, mate. Now that you have brought it up, you have spoken about young emerging team, and I know from a personal, I think lots of Sri Lankans who are listening. By the way, it's a big hello to all those people who have been glued and listening to us, and all those people who had a sneak peek and who will watch the program later. Would like to say thank you very much for being part of the show. And some are still listening to every word that you say. That it's very encouraging. And a big thank you and big hello to all those people who are still online. And now that you mentioned that we are an emerging team and that we got some 6 or 7 match winners, and I know that you have done a lot of work to find them franchises in the recent past, that you are still looking for talent that is coming up. And could you explain why, since of late, since Mahela Sangha, Malinga era, that we haven't had many players in the IPL, and in your point of view, why do you think that why Sri Lankan cricketers are not given preference compared to the others?
Look, it's a very tough and a very sensitive question for me, but you have Banuka who is playing in the IPL now. You
Yeah,
have Dushman Chamira who missed out because of his injury. Otherwise, he's a no-brainer for any IPL team. In their side.
yeah,
Uh, Very unlucky, very unfortunate. Dasun Shanaka has missed out on an IPL opportunity, especially after coming off some brilliant performances in India in the T20 and One Day series, where he scored 100 and some match-winning knocks there. Uh, if at all anything, I would feel sorry for Dasun for not being part of the IPL side, because he deserves to be there. He will be there, and I'm not closing doors as yet for him, because I think he deserves to be, and he will be there. At least they would pick him as some replacement players this year, hopefully in the IPL. But to answer your question on why you don't have big names, is because Sri Lanka cricket revolved around three or four names in the past, right? That's Mahela Sangha and Malinga, and then you had when Dilshan was there, and so forth and so on. So there, at some stage, I have seen the attributes of Kusal Mendes where he is there. He has all the traits of being the next Mahela or Dilshan or the next big player from Sri Lanka. He is due and he will definitely get one soon, right? And similarly with Dhananjay De Silva, what a talent he is, and just that fact that he hasn't been playing much of franchise cricket for him to be looked up by any of the franchise from the IPL. IPL obviously is the cream of cricket where you have the best of best talents, right?
yeah.
And unfortunately, even they have certain limitations and restrictions of just having four players in the 11, eight in the dugout, right?
True.
So you got to have something exceptional than the player who is there for you to be able to challenge them and come to that position. So the only way for that to happen for these Sri Lankan players is to be able to play maximum franchise based cricket across the globe. I mean, Sri Lanka
Mhm.
cricket today is giving them opportunities, options, liberty to go and play other leagues. While they are doing that, they're also have to look at what is the quality of leagues that they're playing within the Sri Lanka domestic, right?
Yeah,
That is not going to help them achieve what they want to do or where they want to be playing at the highest level in IPL. They have to be allowing them to be playing various leagues. Of course, the best interest is to make sure that they come back and play the national team. That is there. While they can do that, they also have to understand that they can manage their workload of the players and see if they can allow them to go and play at least one or two, three good leagues in the world, right? Because players these days are picking and choosing what formats they want to play.
true.
Like, I don't see Dasun playing a Test cricket again. I'm just saying. I can be proven wrong by the selectors again, but that's a different story. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, right? Dasun is such a good talent to play all three formats, but he has chosen not to be playing, or probably he felt that he is a better white ball cricketer, right?
Hmm.
And in the likes of Dasun today, there is a Chamika Karunaratne who hasn't played first class for say 3.5 4 years, and he is now back in the reckoning to be playing. So for me,
Yeah.
rather than just leaving it to the players to pick and choose what formats they want to play, it is good that it is good to see that national board comes and helps the players and see if they can contribute to success of, like, Banuka, who's tremendous white ball cricketer. We all know that he has a great potential to make it one of the top international cricketers, right? But he hasn't been allowed to play a lot of other leagues. But again, nothing controversial. I don't want to get into sensitive areas of why, etc., etc. But if he has to excel for Sri Lanka in certain stages, right? I think these guys have to go outside and play. Uh, Partly, Sri Lanka cricket has done that. I mean, today I see them go and play PSL, Pakistan Super League. They are playing the ILT20, where I had five Sri Lankan players in my side in Dubai
True.
Capital, right? Look, I'm a firm believer that all of these cricketers have tremendous potential to make it at the highest level, which is where they were there. They were firstly picked in the side. So the more they play, they get better, and it's only going to help the country.
True. Yeah, what you're saying is in a nutshell that they need recognition and marketability to make it big. I think that's what we are lacking. What you said. So we need to give them exposure, give them opportunities to go out of the country and to
Yeah.
excel themselves and showcase themselves who they are. And hopefully we are on the right path. And we'll get some of our players into IPL. Hopefully next season or so. Now,
Yeah.
quickly getting back because we have a few more things to discuss. Sri, you had a role with LPL this year, and
Yeah.
you were direct operations. We all know that this year the LPL was done like in a hurry, and the conditions prevailed. It's not only in Sri Lanka. I think the world over that the economic downturn and after COVID, and there was so much uncertainty, and yet Sri Lanka cricket went ahead and held the LPL, and you were instrumental in getting a lot of players down. What's the future? In the can we get proper players for the LPL next year, and how do you see LPL progressing in Sri Lanka? In your view, you as the direct operations, how do you see it?
Look, firstly, the last year was, hit by economic crisis for Sri Lanka. The whole of Sri Lanka struggled. Hats off to Sri Lanka Cricket and the IPG group to have put together a tournament like this. I think phenomenal effort by Sri Lanka Cricket and IPG to have pulled off a tour like this, because one side, the economic crisis is
Yeah,
holding the country back. The other side, the players want something because they want to excel, they want to get maximum exposure, and
yeah,
most importantly, the the sport that they love to play, right? It eases out a lot of pressure from everybody's minds. I mean, there's hundreds and thousands of people who come to watch the game. If not in the ground, they watch back in the televisions in Sri Lanka. So it actually helped the cause for Sri Lanka in a better way, where people were engaged, involved in watching the sport that they love, because Sri Lanka is a fun loving crowd and they love to come and watch the sport on the ground. Unfortunately, uh, there weren't big turnouts in the ground this year, but the last year, the way the tournament was conducted in a manner that every other league that I have seen was top class. Right from the venue operations to the ground operations. Obviously, there were a couple of rained out games we thought, but the ground staff did exceptional job again to bring the game back for us live, and preparations were brilliant. Some of the players didn't make it because of the availability, because you see the initial tournament before the Asia Cup was scheduled to be in July, right?
right.
When that fell off because of the crisis that Sri Lanka was going through, the only window that we could have the tournament was in December, and December was the time for several other bilaterals. You had Big Bash, you have Bangladesh Premier League in preparation to the South African League and the ILT20. So you
Yeah,
lost a lot of players, and plus they were unexpected turnouts, because people said no, there's a long season ahead, I would rather rest during these 3 weeks, and it's Christmas time. It wasn't going to be easy for us to put together a tournament like this, but again, hats off to all those people who are involved to put up a tournament like that. I think one of the best tournaments in my the recent times that I have witnessed is that. Obviously, the competition, there were a lot of new Sri Lankan players that we have seen. Someone like a Crosspull who came up, the ranks, who the world has not seen much of him today. He is consistently scoring for Sri Lanka. Even I think in England A versus Sri Lanka A, he scored a 73 odd now in yesterday's game,
yeah,
which I'm closely following. And I feel some of the players like him and Nuvan Indu, Fernando, and Nuvan Tushara, all these guys are exceptional talent which is coming up. And Matisha Patirana, whom I saw 4 years back in 2019, and I said he's going to be the next sensation for Sri Lanka in terms of bowling uh, at the death, and rightly so, he did that, right? So I feel that LPL this year has had a lot of young talent come up the ranks, and that's the success of LPL for me this year. Next year is going to be definitely bigger and better, with having a full window for it, and then run it in its usual window of July August.
yeah. Good, just very positive response, mate. Cruz Pulle, he's the guy. He's surprised. Actually, for him to come and deliver the goods, and I think he has performed exceptionally well, and he had to be very frank, I think he has performed beyond my expectations. I wish the boy all the success. It's a sensational talent. When it comes to white ball cricket, I hope he will carry on from where he has started off. And another exciting. Sri, just keep an eye on this boy, Dushan Hemanta, who took 5 wickets last night.
Yeah.
Exciting right arm leg spinner. He's coming up the ranks. Very fit player, puts in a lot of hard yards. And
Two players, Dunit Velelage, right? Am I getting it right?
yeah,
There's
Dunit
Ishan
Velalage, yeah.
Bandara.
There are quite a few names that you can
So
mention
many
is
names
coming
we
up.
can, yeah, like I said, I don't want to single out any name and miss out someone else. But
Yeah,
I think all these are under the radar of people and people are watching them. I mean, to all those who are watching this, I'm telling you this, there are so many of us who go back, whether it's discussions during the Indian Premier League, auction times, or in franchise cricket, wherever we are involved, we discuss a lot of players. All of these names do come at some stage for discussions. So it's not that we are only looking at names like the Russells and the Powells of cricket, but
yeah,
we also have a lot of young talent that we spot. We feel that they are the next big thing for the sport. So if you look at the sport by large, that's what we want, right? We want the
yeah.
best of best players to come up there. So we're always on the lookout for them.
Excellent, mate. Now that you have spoken about young talent, Sri, I think you mentioned to me offline, and when I was just was talking to you last night, that you got a new venture going in Sri Lanka. That not many people understand. As I think we spoke about it at the beginning of the chat, saying that the the strategy, being a strategist and being an analyst into the sport, not many people understand. Not many people have the access to learn the subject, that they don't know, because it's still it's a new
Very niche
concept.
area it is, yeah. It's a very
it's
niche
a
area of work.
it's a niche area, that you're right, as you rightly put, as you and you also mentioned the fact that it's not just cricket alone. In any sport, that the people don't realize how far the technology has gotten involved with the sport. And if you're a rugby fan, that we have a unique scenario in Sri Lanka. Rugby is our number two sport, and if you really look at the international games, the entire game is driven by about three or four analysts. It's unbelievable. We still haven't come to that Sri Lanka in cricket, that you don't find. I'm sure that in near future that'll happen very soon, that bringing in replacements when they see a player is near exhaustion, that you could pull the guy out from competition, and you send in a fresh legs, that you keep the intensity and the power going. That's a brand new concept, Ray. And it's the entire thing is driven by the analyst, and the coach is constantly in touch with a with the radio on, with the headphones on, to get the feedback from the analyst. I think that's the future in any sport.
Yeah.
Now, bear that in mind. I think, Sri, you have embarked on a new project, and in Sri Lanka. And would you like to shed more light on it? Because I'm sure that people will listen to it at
Yeah,
some
why not?
point, once you're off there. And what opportunities you are going to give, cricket enthusiasts and young people who are interested in the game. And it's a lucrative career at the end of the day. If you, as you rightly said at the start, if you don't make it to the national team or play the highest level of cricket, but there's still more scope in this game, isn't it?
Right, absolutely. I mean, look, one thing to start with, I would say, is don't go after lucrative offers. Look at what is the best offer for you, because as an individual, you might be coming and thinking that I'm good at a particular sport, but the sport will not have enough funding for you to be getting what you think you deserve. So don't equate that with a commercial element to it. See what best you are with yourself in terms of the skills, in terms of the knowledge that you have, and where you think you can contribute for the success of the team. Ultimately, if it's a sport like a badminton, where it's one man sport, right, where you are always battling with one opponent and one person. It's a it's not a team sport like cricket or rugby or a football, like that. So where there are various elements to contributing to the success of a team. So pick and choose what you are good at and be with their coaches, work in tandem with the coaches, understand their line of thinking, understand the players line of thinking, and until you have developed the trust factor, do not cross the lines of a coach. That is my first point here. The second point is, yes, like manager mentioned, we have already started this venture in Sri Lanka and various other places. We probably can take requests online. If someone is happy to reach out, feel free to reach out to either of us, and we will always share the information. The venture is concept is very simple. We reach out to clubs, teams, universities, schools, academies, national institutions, sports institutions, bodies, Olympic associations, etc., where we have made inroads massively in various countries, and we need people who are passionate. Underline this word passion. Without this passion, you can't achieve anything. You can't get into the thick of things, because the passion is one thing that will drive you, and which has driven me for a number of years now. I'm sure it's the same for any of you watching this. Without passion, don't just come because it is a lucrative offer, or it is going to give you something materialistic, at the end of the day. uh, because you as an individual, you as an analyst, you as a strategist, you as a support to the team, have much more to contribute to the success of the team than just trying to take some small bucks here and there and then go back and satisfy yourself, rather, right?
Yeah,
So see the sport the way it is growing. Of course, we will be rewarded for what work we do in a nice way if we do that well, and
yeah,
I strongly feel that is the way forward. Just to touch upon a little bit on the workshops, on the programs that we do. Age no criteria. Anyone from any diverse background, anyone interested in sports, feel free to just reach out to us, because everybody, every single one person that I'm talking about here watching a game is in some way a commentator, right? When I say a commentator, we all comment about why this guy is playing like this. He should have played like that. He could have done this. He could have done that. Or she should have, smashed it like this. She should have, go for an attack. Why is she being so defensive? So I've come across some, say, 100,000 people example, right? I would have seen at least 90% of them just commenting about things. Very few act on how they have to do that with an action plan, with a plan of action, right? So be one among those people who actually comes up with a plan of action and say, hey, this is what it is. We need to do this. These are the ways that we can, devise a plan, derive a strategy behind it. Take it to the players. 10 people, 5 people will reject you, 4 people will listen to you, one person will give you a job. One person will come to you and say, okay, you have a job, come and work with us. Be that one person, right? Most importantly here, we teach you, we coach you, we train you, we empower you with a lot of these inputs as to how you become that one person. And we are a successful group of people, having participated or having been part of this field for a number of years. Again, someone like Charith Sananayaka, who's been a cricketer by himself in the past, who knows the game. If he is listening to us, talking about the sport with so much knowledge, and he can pick up 1.1% from this conversation and say, look, this is a new learning for me. You can do that. You have so much to learn as well, as a layman, as a passionate sports lover. So this is the place for you. In case you're keen, interested, reach out to us.
brilliant, mate. 1%. That is what we all as humans we are looking for. Regardless you are a sportsman or not. To better ourselves, raise the bar. Whatever that gives you that opportunity to make that extra 1%. As I said earlier, I'm all for it. Three, that there are people who have written to me and asking how they can reach you. I think once we finish the chat, and you can post the link perhaps under the comments, and say that how people can reach you and how people can be part of the workshop that you're going to conduct in the future. And I'm sure there'll be lots of people out there who wants to who wants to learn, and as you rightly said, that learn more about the game, learn all the technology, and that's the hidden aspects of the game, the in-depth analysis, all that. And this is for that, that just to ask you, that you having a IT background, does that help, or it's not a criteria?
It's only an advantage. Look, it's like this. If you are a mathematical student, if you are a statistician, all of these only will add value to what you are. uh, all I expect is, when if people are turning out and to the workshop and say, look, I want to be an analyst, don't just come with baggage in mind, come with an empty mind, because you have much more to take than what you think you actually can take otherwise, when you come with loads of information in your head. Because when you come with so much information, so many questions in your mind, you
Mhm.
are you got a pre-notion about how you have to do that work. So you will not be able to take anything more. Come with an empty mind. Understand, you might have questions in during the sessions. You then post across those and see where you fit, whether you fit into this category or not. There is no one defined role for a person in this field. You can fine tune yourself to what you want to be after knowing what you want to do. So one of the major things that we do in this workshop is mind management, right?
Right.
When we actually sit down and talk to a player, the player comes and talks to us about so many various things, about how he thinks, what he thinks. I'm getting these thoughts in my mind. I've done so much, but I do not know how to focus. So focus is just a simple thing, but we focus on every other thing other than what we actually have to focus on, right? So mind management is one such thing that we help the individuals on, and how it in turn helps you become a better person, become a better professional. So that is something that we work on very closely with. That's why I said this is very one on one. And I've done more than 10,000 students at the most at the moment in the last 3.5 years that we have started these workshops. Um, but most of them have been one-on-one for me, and the success ratio, I shouldn't be saying this. I've had many people come back and write messages, emails to me thanking for the time that we have spent one-on-one. I love doing what I'm doing because it gives me so much pleasure and joy to see someone empower with so much knowledge, and see look at the sport differently.
Yep.
So yeah, look, I'm available in various social media platforms, so we always can touch base and see where we go from here.
Excellent, Sri. I think part of it is, sharing the knowledge. I think, empowering people. I think it's a part and parcel of life, and how it should be, that we should be happy about other people's success, and whatever the knowledge that we have acquired over the years, if we can share it, that's a brilliant thought. And I know, Sri, that you got a couple of other appointments to go, and you're talking about, you spoke briefly about that the relationships that you established your time in Sri Lanka, and you got many friends. There's one person that whom you particularly close to, Bawa. How's he doing in India? Your good friend
So
Bawa, mate.
he is a legend. He's celebrating India, and we are celebrating him as well here. I've had very little interactions with him in the last few years, but whenever I have seen him in the screen, I say, I'm so happy for this man, because the most hardworking manager, more than you, I've seen this guy work hard in the side.
Yeah,
So
there's no doubt about that, mate.
with
He's
all respect to you,
absolutely. You spoke about passion, and if you talk about a guy who is committed to what he
yeah,
does, and loves doing what he, is unbelievable. And he's from very humble background like you, mate. Just
yeah,
there's a beautiful story behind how Baua gained recognition, and now he's with the Indian team, and as you rightly said, perhaps attained celebrity status in India. He
yeah,
become a Baua have become a legend, mate. That's and I believe if Baua was around, you probably would have still got you to run, and to be much fitter than what you are at the moment. That how are you doing health wise, Sri? That is all this work, is it taking a toll on
yeah. I'm
your
I'm
health?
I'm much better. I'm in a much better space now over the last 3 weeks. Yeah, there's a lot more to improve. I'm working on it constantly. That's one thing that I felt that we should focus as individuals.
Yeah.
Never compromise on the health. I've been advised very clearly. I've been thankful to few of my teammates who were around me over the incident 3 4 weeks back, who helped me gain and to be what I am today. I think health is key, and health is no compromise in front of your work or anything else. So that's a great lesson for me a month back. So yeah,
It's a wake up call, mate, for people, everybody. Never, never. take your health for granted. It's priority. That's the only thing that you have at the end of the day. It's the only thing that you can control. So take great care of your health, people. Whoever is listening to this. Sri, just before we wind up, what's in store for you next? I know that you'll be involved in the IPL coming up. Are you doing IPL this season as well?
Yes, so IPL is coming up. Then before that, there is a couple of other tournaments. So we are working on some badminton tournament that's going on right now.
Mhm. Okay.
And there's a lot of preparatory work for the IPLs as well. And there's women's Premier League, which is the talk of the town today. And then there's PSL going on. Constantly following all of these things. And one bit of my extended role will be to also look at watch on the young talent, the talent scouting part. So be it for IPL, be it for any other tournament, I think this is my day in day out job. And my day starts with watching cricket, ends the day with watching cricket and dozing off. So
Yeah, I can imagine that. Sri, any this the women's IPL, any Sri Lankan players involved, or because
uh, not with our side, but most importantly, there are few good talents which I'm sure in the years to come they will have the slingy bowler Archie, right? Pardon me
yeah,
for my
correct.
pronunciations on this, but and then there's Chamri, who was unlucky to have gone unsold, but I'm sure there is always a slot for them to come in the future. So there are quite a
Right,
few
yeah,
talent which Sri Lankans have. I mean, they've had two back-to-back success in South Africa in the Women's World Cup currently.
yeah.
Uh, but some of them have just missed out on the bus because of the players not being seen in the bigger stage, like the other players from Australia or the other teams have done. But I'm sure there is a lot of future for the women's cricket
Good
for
news
sure.
for so great news for both boys and girls, and a lot to look forward to. But in life, nothing comes easy. I think they really have to work hard towards their goals, and if they want certain things in life, and you are a living example, and you rightly said that whatever you do in life, passion, is a key. That you have
Underline it.
passion, commitment, and you will
Perseverance.
get there. And patience. And things don't happen overnight, so you have to have patience. And a good thing happens to people who have patience and wait for it and work towards it. And hopefully that things will follow for good people. And Sri, I don't want to keep you waiting, and because I know that you got a that important appointment in a while. Uh, have you missed out anything that you want to add on, just to get
And
a
all,
message across?
no, Manish, firstly, thanks to you to having me part of this wonderful podcast or the workshop or the show that you have been doing. I mean, I know this is your passion to chat with people, and I've seen you talk to more people than the most of the people that I have seen, because that's your passion and you're living your passion as well. I'm sure you have many more such events, and I wish you good luck for all of that. And thanks to all of you who have joined us today, to have taken a little time on watching our boring chats over the last 1 hour. Uh, but again, we will connect soon, and I'm sure we have more opportunities to sit and chat on many such shows and events in the near future. Once again, thank you so much for all the love and having me on this show today.
Sri, it's always a pleasure, mate. That have you on the show, and you're one of the. I have worked with many foreign professionals, during my tenure with Sri Lanka cricket, and I never forget you. And you have been and I think we got very close during that Zimbabwe tour, as you mentioned, getting stranded in middle of nowhere in a broken down bus. Yeah, that was things very unlikely to happen to international setup. But the fact is, we were stranded, and for hours and hours, middle of nowhere. But we got to, I think, was it Bulawayo in time for the match? That's crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy stuff. And yeah, and everybody who joined the show, and I can see Leonard, Arosh, Mal, Sham. Big hello to Sham, mate. Sham still online, and Birosh, all the way from Australia, Samira, Shrimal. Yeah, lots of journalists. It's good to have those boys on the show, and because they are all involved in cricket, and I take this opportunity to wish them also nothing but the very best, in their future endeavors. Uh, yes, anything that anybody wants clarification, you can always reach to both of us after the show. We'll be available. And thanks for joining us, Sri, once again. All the very best to you.
Thank you so much for everyone, and thanks, manage
Yeah,
connection with
mate.
you.
And look after yourself. And I shall see you soon on the other side, inshallah.
Thank you.
Sooner than later. Take care, mate. Bye bye. Thanks to
Bye.
everyone. Have a good day. Cheers. Bye.